Hey everyone, God bless you. I thought I would give a few bits of thoughts, commentary that I have on a recent interview that involved a former Navy SEAL, Carl Higbie, on a CNN hosted show by Kate Bolduan, I believe is how you would pronounce her name.
Yourself.
Any kind of intelligence.
Carl, you've been involved in classified information. You are a Navy SEAL. You fought for this country. When you hear that that information is highly classified, has been handed over to Russian diplomats in the Oval Office, classified information that was so sensitive it hasn't even been widely seen within the U.S. government, let alone allies.
Right. So I've sat here very quietly listening to all this BS, quite frankly. And did you listen to anything McMaster said today where he said, I was in the room, that didn't happen, nothing inappropriate was shared? You're basing all these allegations off of one or maybe two sources, which CNN reports. Two former officials knowledgeable of the situation confirmed to CNN the main points of the story. Two former officials. Tell you what, come out, name those people, then we'll have something to talk about.
One, we protect sources. Two, it's not just CNN. It's Washington Post, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, CNN, ABC,
yeah, but who
NBC.
are the sources?
Carl.
Who are the sources? Oh, because they're hiding behind this anonymity.
Oh,
and that's what we're seeing.
Please, do not even start with me that you're just going to attack sources.
Okay, so
that
what
is
about,
ridiculous.
so are you saying McMaster is lying?
I'm not saying McMaster is lying.
Well, he didn't really answer the question.
He didn't answer the question.
He said nothing inappropriate was shared.
No, that's his opinion.
That would be.
But that's his opinion.
You cannot attack.
Yeah.
Do not attack these stellar reporters of CNN who have their sources and would protect
stellar
their
reporters
sources.
of CNN that I am going to attack right now and say, guess what? I don't believe them because they're staying anonymous. If they stand behind this story, come out, face the camera.
Can I just say something?
All they've been doing is facing the camera, Carl.
The people who are in that room?
We have anonymous sources. We protect them for real reasons. So the information that is important to the public can get out.
Happen? I mean, those were anonymous sources. Was that not a real story?
I'm saying that there's been so many anonymous sources.
But seriously, so Watergate, it was all a lie because it was anonymous sources.
It was a trial.
Right.
Yeah. Girl, you're embarrassing yourself. Really? You're embarrassing yourself.
What I find so funny about this is he calls out anonymous sources, questioning the validity of this narrative that President Donald Trump gave away classified information to Russians. Now, the defense is, oh, it's not just CNN that reports this. There are other people, too, that have said this, and a litany of other sources are thrown out to justify that it's not just CNN that's reporting this, but these other people are, too. How does that make it any more valid when a lot of the recent attacks against Donald Trump have come from anonymous sources? If all it takes are anonymous sources, and one person posts it, and then everyone else just quotes the initial poster or publisher of the information, how do we really know we can trust this information? Can't anyone then publish anything and claim it came from an anonymous source? Shouldn't we have more to base an impeachment call upon than simply these anonymous sources claim that President Trump gave away classified information during a meeting with Russian leaders and officials? Also, who are these anonymous sources? They were former administrators, former officials. So they wouldn't have been in the room to have even heard this information given to the Russians that is supposedly classified. Now, granted, giving information is not a problem, right? It's giving classified information that would be the problem. Then I love how Carl Higbie asked, so are you saying that McMaster's was lying when he says nothing classified was given to the Russians during this meeting? The response wasn't, yes, he's lying, right? It is, oh, I didn't say he wasn't lying. It's like, well, what do you mean, right? Either these anonymous sources are telling the truth and he gave classified information, or McMaster's is telling the truth and he didn't give classified information. They can't both be true, right? When contradictory statements come into play, one could be true, they can't both be true. They could both in this case, they can't both be false, right? It's one where it's exclusive to such a way where either he did or he didn't give classified information to the Russians. I love then when he calls out that, are you saying McMaster's is lying? She doesn't have anything to go with. So one of the friends in the panel has to come into her aid because all she can do is blow up, right, and get angry and mad instead of having an actual argument. Comes in and says, he wasn't lying, it's just his opinion. Well, how then do you know it's not just the opinion of these anonymous sources that he did give classified information to the Russians? Why should we call for an impeachment of an American president on anonymous sources that, it could just be their opinion, right, that he gave classified information to the Russians? And so, if he's not lying, it's just his opinion, then really, can't any contradictory information then be true if that's how we're operating? That opinions count? If the opinion of these anonymous sources works, why not the opinion of McMaster's, right? So how do we decide when one person's opinion is valid and another person's isn't? I really like the end of that clip too, where the guy sitting next to Higbee goes, "You're making a fool of yourself. You really should stop. You're making a fool of yourself." And his response is, "Really? I'm making a fool of myself?" Because I think he really knows that when everyone watches this, they're going to see who's being foolish. It becomes very, very clear that they don't have arguments. And they don't know what they're talking about. And they're just spitting off anonymous sources. They even call out Watergate, and he's like, yeah, Watergate went to trial, right? I mean, you can't just make claims anonymously and then run into the shadows, and that's really what we see happening again and again and again, and that's why many people on the right are questioning mass media, CNN, MSNBC, all the sources that she threw out. Again and again, it's things which are really not substantiated. And you know what? Go ahead, impeach Trump. Wouldn't that be great if you did impeach Trump? Because then we would have a way more conservative president and Mike Pence.